Tēnā koutou katoa, he mihi tino mahana. Warm greetings to all gathered here today. I declare this congregation to be in session. Please remain standing and join with us in singing the University Waiata. Please be seated. E noho. Tēnā tata katoa e huihu mai ana I tēnei rā mātuatua. E tangi tonu ana ki ngā mate o te wā, haere koutou e moi. Kia tātou ngā māhuatanga e ngā kanohi ora e pai nei tēnā koutou katoa. Rangitāne ki Manawatū, kei ngā kai pupuri I te mauri o tēnei whenua tēnā koutou. Kei ngā whānau o ngā tauira, kua tae mai I tāwhiti, kua tae mai I tata, tēnā hoki koutou. Nau mai ki te kuninga ki pūre huroa ki turitia, ki tēnei whakapōtaitanga e whakanui ana I ngā ihu puta. Kia koutou e ngā tauira, kua tūtuki, kua e, huroa, huroa. Provost, members of the Massey University Council, University Community, the Turitia Manawatū Campus Graduation Committee, distinguished guests, graduands and families. My name is Professor Jan Thomas and I'm the Vice-Chancellor of Te Kuninga ki Pūrehuroa, Massey University. My role is to guide the university's overall management and strategic direction, ensuring we deliver education at the highest quality. I am also on Massey Council, and in that role, I have the great privilege of presiding over this ceremony. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to you all to the final of 6 ceremonies taking place here in Palmerston North. I'd also like to thank everyone involved in organising these ceremonies. Your efforts have made it possible for us to gather and celebrate these remarkable achievements together. But it is our tauira, our students, who sit at the heart of this university and drive our commitment to effecting meaningful change. As students who come to us with your ideas, passions and aspirations, and we have the privilege of helping you cultivate the skills and knowledge necessary to shape a brighter future for our nation and beyond. I'd like to congratulate each and every one of you for achieving this remarkable milestone as you stand on the threshold of a new chapter. This week, Massey University is awarding qualifications to a total of 979 graduands. At today's ceremony, a total of 104 graduands will cross the stage, and a further 11 in absentia students will have their qualifications conferred. It's important to recognise all those who've played a role in getting you here. Nobody makes it alone, so take a moment to think of the friends, whānau, academic and professional staff who've provided invaluable support. I know I speak for all of us here on this stage and across the rest of our Massey community when I say we have been honoured to walk alongside you throughout your education journey. Shortly, you'll be making the transition from student to graduate as you cross this stage. For those in the audience who are here to celebrate the success of a loved one, I encourage you to be loud and proud in your pride as they take this step. As Vice-Chancellor, I welcome you to our Massey alumni whānau. You are among great company, and I hope the connections it provides you enhances both your career and your life. From this day forth, you are part of the Massey University legacy. Continue to make us proud. Congratulations once again. May your future be filled with endless possibility and boundless success. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. By the authority of the Council of Massey University, I, Professor Jan Thomas, Acting Chancellor, will now present the certificates and diplomas and degrees to those who will be presented and on those in absentia. Professor Bill Fish, Director, Research for the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, and Associate Professor Rochelle Stewart-Withers, Associate Professor for the School of People, Environment and Planning, will call the names of graduates and recipients of certificates and diplomas in the College of Humanities and Social Sciences. Professor Cynthia White, Pro Vice-Chancellor, College of Humanities and Social Sciences, will hand out the certificates.
Acting Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the Certificate in Foundation Studies the candidate I am about to name, Louis Joe Wright. Acting Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the Foundation Certificate International Accelerated the candidate I am about to name, Mark Charles de Mello. Acting Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the Diploma in Arts the candidate I'm about to name, Michaela Ellen Searle. Acting Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Bachelor of Arts the graduates I'm about to name, Tanya Leah Anderson. Lachlan Gordon Russell Baxter. Shayla Gail Bernard. Nakisha Anne Marie Butler. Nadezhda Bayakova. Nicholas Frederick Cameron. Annie Rose Clark. Alice Ruth Davies. Jacob Max Davey. Emily Sarah Faye Dawson. Tenahandi Samadhi Pavitra da Silva. Kevin Thomas Fee. Trent Anthony Foreman. Brooklyn Maya Gray. Caleb Ross Hoare. Alex Taina Hooper. Kiriana Fiona Elizabeth Holtham. Kelly Patricia Howard. Larissa Grace Hutchins. Yidris Jankauskas. Shauna Claire Johnson. Brianna Marie Johnston. Kyla Ray Joseph. Kylie Bridget Kowaleski. Brett Stephen Lurink. Emily Alice Lewis. Kaya Grace Lloyd. Carter James McLean. Denise Joy Martin. Madeline Emily Karen Faith McAlpine. Alicia Nikki McCartan. Bridie Rose McLeavy. Georgia Elizabeth McMillan. Emily Grace McPherson. Tammy Ann Metcalf. Deborah Momoisea. Joshua Neil Morris. Scott Matthew Nielsen, Massey Scholar. Rian Christine Robertson. Thieson Lilias Marie Rogers Lobban. Ethan James Russell. Alita Grace Schutzer. Taylor Ann Seville. Emma Sandra Sutherland. Grace Audrey Swanston. Kelly Alison Takurua. Sophia May Triwavers. Abraham Paul Tucker. Ashley Tiaraha Witihera. Michaela Tutty. Emma May Udy. Jodie Francis Vuletta. Emma Louise Walker. Linnea Penu Ann Werita. Thank you, Acting Chancellor.
It is now my pleasure to invite Associate Professor Kirsty Ross to address the graduands. Associate Professor Ross completed her BA First Class Honours, PhD and Postgraduate Diploma Clinical Psychology through Massey University. She is a registered senior clinical psychologist and an associate professor in clinical psychology for the clinical psychology program here at Massey, Palmerston North campus. She's also part of the leadership team for the Palmerston North Psychology Clinic and is acting head of the School of Psychology. It's quite a lot of jobs you've got there. Dr. Ross has worked with children, young people and families for over 20 years. For the past 17 years at the Psychology Clinic on the Manawatū campus. There, she's specialised in working with children, young people and families whānau of people who have long-term terminal health conditions, particularly cancer. She has a long association with the Child Cancer Foundation and trained counsellors and therapists across Aotearoa to establish a network of therapists to work with children with cancer and their families. Dr. Ross also specialises in working with young people with anxiety and trauma. Dr. Ross's knowledge, focus and values as a clinician guide and inform all aspects of her work, encompassing a developmental and family systems perspective centred around a recovery model and a holistic view of well-being. Dr. Ross works with both individual clients and in the community to enhance existing strengths within individuals, family and whānau, and communities to prevent serious forms of mental distress and illness and foster mental health, well-being and resilience. Please join me in welcoming Associate Professor Ross to this lectern.
Tēnā koutou katoa. I te taha o tuku mātua, no Kotarangi no Aotearoa hoki ia. E te taha o toko whaia no ingarangi no were hoki ia. Kei pahi atua o rawa kainga, ko Jeff Ross toko papa, ko Jane Ross toko mama, ko David Jamieson toko mātua whāngai, ko Kirsty Ross toko ingoa. He ahau te tuamaki whakakapi o te kura hininaro, he kaimata hininaro mātua ahau no te kunina ki Purihiroa. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Thank you, Acting Chancellor Jan Thomas, Acting Vice-Chancellor Giselle Burns, University Council members and the senior leadership team for this honour to be speaking with you today. The graduates, as you celebrate your achievements with your family and whānau. Today is a day to recognise your journey and all that it has taken to reach this milestone. Some of you have had support to get to this place today. Others have had more of an individual path, and I particularly salute you. Some of you have followed a path set by others, and some of you have looked at the path others have walked and decided to make a new one. You all have had to work very hard and persevere in very difficult circumstances. My career began with Massey, and I'm now in a privileged position of working with children who are terminally ill and their families, working with families and parents of cancer patients, and working with people who have significant trauma. My work has taught me many things and confirmed to me he aha te mea nui o te ao, he tangata, he tangata, he tangata. What is the most important thing? It is people, it is people, it is people. This college is about the study of people and making a difference in the lives of others. Our college is about the stories of people, and through stories we have shared knowledge since the beginning of time. So today I wanted to share some stories with you from my own family and the knowledge I gained, which has helped me put my training into use and in my own life. My father's family came to the Wairarapa from Scotland generations ago, descended from Scottish warriors. My grandparents were Doug and Vi Ross. Vi's parents divorced when she was a young child. This was the 1920s, and it had the scandal of a criminal prosecution which found my great-grandmother guilty. She and her daughter Vi subsequently experienced significant stigma and discrimination. Vi was shunned by her peers and community and left school really early. Her father moved away and had a second family whom she enthusiastically connected to as an adult. The loss of her family and education shaped Vi's life, and so she ensured her children and grandchildren knew the value of both. A call from Gran for a family get-together was not to be refused, and her phone calls were legendary for sharing updates on every remote cousin I had never heard of that she told me I definitely knew. Doug served in Europe in World War II. The shrapnel in his face bore witness to horrors that he never spoke of, but that affected him and the whole family significantly. My father, Jeff, was born during World War II, and the traumas of war massively impacted not only his childhood, but his entire life, both physically and emotionally. Our bodies keep the score. My mother's parents were British, my grandfather Fred was English, and my grandmother Myra was Welsh. Fred served in the RAF during World War II, flying over the English Channel, searching for and retrieving pilots who had been shot down was just one of the tasks he had. Myra was a remarkably well-educated woman for her generation. She was a teacher, taught in London during the war, during the Blitz. Her first fiancé was killed in action. I have the engagement ring he made her before he was killed. So when Myra met Fred, she did not muck around, and 3 weeks after they met, they were married, as Fred was heading off to Italy, and who knew what was around the corner. Thankfully, he survived, and they subsequently had 2 girls, my mother and my aunt. The horrors Fred saw also were never spoken of, but he saw active battle across Europe. He was a quiet, gentle man who hated any conflict and bore the marks of war on him with quiet dignity. When my mother was 6, Fred and Myra decided to leave everyone and everything they knew to come to Aotearoa, and they settled in Clairville, Carterton, of all places. Myra was the principal of Clairville Primary School, the first female principal of a primary school in New Zealand, for which she received the New Zealand Suffrage Centennial Medal in 1993. She was a formidable woman, the opposite in personality to Fred, thank goodness, a ferocious and talented card player, Scrabble champion, drinker of gin, massive flirt, and prone to telling very rude jokes. She was the main earner in the family and worked well into her 70s at the RSA in Carterton. Fred and Myra owned a pub at one point. They sold it after being the victims of an armed robbery held up at gunpoint for a number of hours. This too had their mark on them. However, they were legendary hosts and had every drink imaginable ready to serve to guests. Fred did the cooking and cleaning, she managed the finances, and they were happy and adored each other till they died. All of my grandparents experienced trauma, and yet they showed enormous gratitude for their blessings, and they knew the importance of connection and social support. My mother and her sister followed in Myra's footsteps. Both became teachers. Mum taught special needs kids for a long time, and as the head teacher in a special needs unit in a primary school in Pahiatua, it was one of the first mainstreamed classes in the country. She was incredible and was much loved by her pupils. I remember trying to get Mum to lock her house once when we were going out in Pahiatua, but she proudly assured me she taught most of the criminals in Pahiatua at the time, and they told her they'd all agreed her house was off limits as a mark of respect. I think they might have been a little afraid of her as well. Mum taught for 45 years prior to getting cancer, and the turnout to her funeral was testament to the impact she had on her students. In coming to New Zealand as a small child, my mother lost connection to her family in England and Wales, and that was a loss she felt greatly throughout her life. She was able to connect with her British family in her 60s when she and my aunt took a trip back home. This was enormously significant for them both, and I'm thankful they were able to do that, as Mum and my aunt both passed away not long after this trip. My dad was pretty mischievous as a teenager, and after getting caught yet again in the girls' dorm of the boarding school in Masterton when he was 15, it was politely suggested to him perhaps he should leave school, so he did. He left to see the world, and his philosophy in life was after the family farm called Havershop. One of the most intelligent people I have ever known, he could turn his hand to anything. He was a successful lawnmower repair business owner, computer systems developer, worked for the Wairarapa Polytech. He ran their branch in Pahiatua, and when they asked him to teach accounting, which he had no training in, he said yes to that too, and set about reading the text before the students did. Stay one chapter ahead, that's all I've got to do, he said with a grin. But the traumas my father experienced as a child caught up to him when he died suddenly from a heart attack when I was 21. At his funeral, his adult students shared stories of his kindness, his encouragement, and his belief in them, and his legendary sense of humour. A student who was a member of the Rainbow community told me of Dad's positive impact, and this reflected his values and awareness of needing to support those who are often marginalised in society, as members of our family who were in the Rainbow community had been during the 50s and 60s. As Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, if you want to be a true professional, you will do something outside yourself, something to repair tears in your community, something to make life a little better for people. My parents met and married young and had their firstborn son, Stephen, on Anzac Day in 1969. Stephen was born 10 weeks early, and in those days, medicine and technology was not advanced enough to save his life. He lived but a few hours. In those days, no one talked about the death of a baby, and I wasn't even aware I had a brother till I was 8. The pain of that loss was evident when my own son was born prematurely and Mum visited us in the neonatal intensive care unit. Her quiet comment about how far things had come spoke volumes. The loss of a child is something I've counselled many parents about during my career, and the strength needed to carry on after this is indescribable. After that tragedy, my parents had my sister, and then I followed some years later. I was born with spina bifida. This caused huge difficulties and health issues and disability in my life and shaped me in many ways. In those days, my parents were told that when I was born that I might never walk. Take me home, do the best you can with her, they were told. Mum and Dad told me I could be whatever I put my mind to. As a little girl, that involved dreams of winning an Oscar or being an Olympic gymnast, so I guess it wasn't strictly true. My stepfather joined our family a few years after Dad died. David was born in the Shetland Islands just before the war. As the war broke out, David was placed in an orphanage where he stayed until he was 11. Whether this was because his parents couldn't care for him who had died, I don't know, and I'm not sure he ever found that out. When he was 11, he was placed on a ship to New Zealand along with hundreds of other children just after the war and sent here to start a new life. I can't imagine how terrifying that must have been. Yet he spoke often of how lucky he was, as he was adopted by a loving childless couple in Massey. He befriended Polish refugee children who'd been placed in the settlement camp in Massey, and he built himself a life and a community. He had no memories of his childhood prior to coming to New Zealand, and I can assure you that only happens when the brain does not want to remember things. But I will always remember him watching him shake uncontrollably when he broke a plate at my mum's house when he was in his 70s, as he was terrified of the consequences. His body kept the score too. Mum took his ashes back to the Shetlands when she went back home herself to return him to his homeland and to those family members from whom he had been separated from all those years ago. I tell the stories of my family today because they are the stories of many families, some of whom I'm sure are here today. Many people here will have people in their family who have experienced dislocation, trauma, and mental distress, and courage and strength and resilience. The stories of my family were crucial to me as a teenager. I grew up in in an era where talking about your struggles weren't really a thing, and you were just supposed to harden up and get on with it. When, as a teenager, I experienced significant mental distress leading to therapist services, inpatient services, drawing on the stories and support of my family was my lifeline. When I was 17, starting a 3-month stint in hospital, fighting for my life, remembering my heritage of strength was incredibly important. My grandpa used to say, "You can't kill weeds, kid." These are chapters of my life that for a long time I was reluctant to tell out of stigma society has held around mental distress. But then I look at who I am descended from and I feel proud. My grandfathers no doubt experienced PTSD. My grandmothers both experienced loss of loved ones. My parents' grief over the loss of their much-loved son resulted in enormous distress for them both, and both were separated from their family during their childhoods. My stepfather lost everything as a child. We have come a long way in society in being able to talk about these experiences, and I wish they were talked about more. Stories of strength are in your history too, and in your whakapapa. Learn those stories and celebrate them. Kintsugi, golden joinery, is the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with lacquer dusted or mixed with powdered gold, silver, or platinum. As a philosophy, it treats breakage and repair as part of the history of an object rather than something to disguise. Indeed, the understanding is that something is stronger for having been mended with gold. Your history, your struggles make you stronger and more beautiful. I wish I had had more time with my family to hear more of their stories, where we come from, who we come from, and our heritage helps us to feel connected to something wider than ourselves. That sense of connection and social support helps us to get through the most difficult of times and situations. And they show that in the darkest of times, one of the truest things about life is that things never stay the same, and change is always around the corner. Tomorrow is a fresh start. Sheltering in place is sometimes all you can do while you wait for the storm to pass, and it will. C.S. Lewis said you can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. As you leave here today, take your knowledge and skills and use them in a way that brings you joy, meaning and purpose, and enables you to be the person you want to be. The next chapter of your life is waiting to be written, and the pen is in your hands. See the beauty in your own cracks of gold. Talk about the stories of your ancestors and speak their chapters out loud. Share your own stories with your loved ones. Things unspoken are still felt. Once spoken aloud and shared, they can be understood. You stand in the love of those who have come before you and whose stories are your birthright. I wish you happiness and every success. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirsty, for a very moving address. We'll now continue with the conferment of awards and degrees and university diplomas and certificates.
Okay. Acting Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Bachelor of Communication the graduates I am about to name. Cassandra Ivy Brill. Janae Catherine Riss. Acting Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Bachelor of Resource and Environmental Planning the graduates I am about to name. Daisy Margaret Bassett Foss. Isabel Sabina Cochrane. Luke Sinclair Cocker. Jessica Sarah Davidson. Bridget Victoria Davey. Gemma Lee Fraser. Hannah Rose Gully. Georgia Rose Hollier. Josephine Dorothea Mary Knight McLean, First Class Honours Massey Scholar. Samuel Franklin Peplow. Daniel Taylor. Acting Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the Graduate Certificate in Arts the candidate I am about to name, Jacqueline Marie Frost. Acting Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the Graduate Diploma in Arts the candidates I am about to name, Paulette Amanda Archer. Charles Robert Bielostocki. Tara Ann Blythe. Rebecca Claire Clements. Candy Kelly. Catherine Mary Scott. Acting Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the Postgraduate Diploma in Arts the candidate I am about to name, Jordan Natalie Huffam. Acting Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the Postgraduate Diploma in Planning the candidate I am about to name, Amelia Estelle Longley. Acting Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Bachelor of Arts Honours the graduate I am about to name. Logan Samuel James Peck, First Class Honours. Acting Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Master of Arts the graduates I am about to name. Georgia Grace Bishop Matthews. Hannah Jane Carey with distinction. Kate Shepherd with distinction. Graham Lee Spicer. Rosa Margaret Stewart. Brianna Morgan Wallace with distinction. Tale Christina Wellonrat, Masters Research Scholar. Acting Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Master of Clinical Psychology the graduate I am about to name. Michael Brooke Spencer. Acting Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Master of Creative Writing the graduate I am about to name. Juliana Jessica Jean Rummage. Acting Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Master of International Development the graduates I am about to name. Isabel Jane Freeman with distinction. Catherine Lois Moore. Acting Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Master of Sustainable Development Goals the graduates I am about to name. Sarah Huntley Gordon with distinction. Lauren Deanne Jordan. Warren Edward Meldrum. Lynley Elizabeth Sinclair. Michaela Leslie Rose Strike with distinction. Acting Chancellor, the degrees are also conferred and the diplomas are also awarded to those who are an absentee. Thank you, Acting Chancellor.
It is now my pleasure to invite Deirdre MacDonald to make the valedictory address on behalf of the students. Dee MacDonald teaches biosecurity at Massey's Centre for Defence and Security Studies, and she is graduating today with a PhD in Resource and Environmental Planning. Dee has a substantial background in private and public law practice and came to Massey in 2016, initially just for a year, as a Ministry for Primary Industries teaching fellow. She holds an LLB First Class and an LLM First Class from University of Waikato, is an Associate of the New Zealand Speech Board Teaching and Communication, and an Associate Fellow of the Higher Education Academy. Her research focus is on agricultural biosecurity, human biosecurity, biodiversity, and climate change issues. She publishes on the topic of Aotearoa New Zealand's biosecurity and on national security more broadly. Please join with me in welcoming Dee to the stage.
Ka huria hau ki te mihi ki ngā rangatira, ki ngā manukura, ki ngā pūkenga hoki, o te kūninga ki Pūrihuroa tēnā koutou. Acting Chancellor, Acting Pro-Vice-Chancellor, Council and University members, graduands of the Social Sciences and Humanities, Schools of Music and Creative Arts, Massey University College and Te Tumu Whakatipu tēnā koutou. Me mihi ka tika ki te tangata whenua o te rohe nei, kia rangitāne, tēnā koutou. It has been hard to find a topic to speak about today because we are celebrating achievement and success on the coattails of a long and difficult pandemic. COVID-19 has been an unexpected study companion for us all. As ill-prepared as we were for that experience, it is either because or in spite of it that we are now better prepared for the future. There is a short story that I would like to share with you about being determined. A few years ago in winter, I'd had some time in Milford Sound. One day, my partner and I decided to go for a short hike. Based on a local recommendation, we went for a bushwalk to an alpine lake called Lake Marion. It was a late morning start on a day that was characterised by dull light and light rain. It didn't take long to realise how unprepared we were for this particular walk, when the walk became a climb and the climb became more and more vertical. There was a dawning realisation that this hike was for more advanced trampers than us. By the time I had thought about turning around, we'd invested a lot of effort in getting somewhere close to this promised alpine lake. Finally, we came to a clearing at the top and then sunk into knee-deep snow near half-submerged marker poles. At that point, determination and persistence aside, I was starting to question the recommendation to go on this walk. By then it was around 2:30 in the afternoon and the light was fading surprisingly fast. All of the things that could go wrong flooded my mind as I looked into a small and virtually empty pack and down to my sodden tracksuit pants. And yet, we must have been really close to the lake. At that point, however, we made the call to turn around, disappointing though that was. But by then we could hear avalanche booms in the direction of the lake, and the rising damp of late afternoon felt like it was closing in around us. On the subdued descent down the mountain, I thought about how proud I was that we had even made it that far. But by then I was more pleased and relieved that tenacity did not turn into stubbornness that day, and that it was possible in that moment to pivot and to change the meaning of success. At this point, you might be asking why I'm telling this story. The answer is because it speaks to the benefits of tenacity and where it can get you. It speaks about the experiences you wouldn't have otherwise had, achievements you wouldn't have otherwise attained, and the elation that comes from pushing yourself. The ability to be determined and complete a qualification during a pandemic most certainly shows our tenacity. But it may be that we will also need to change direction or change our focus in the future. Either way, we will be prepared for multiple eventualities by having pushed ourselves beyond what is comfortable. Today represents reaching a plateau in that collective journey from where we get to look back fleetingly down the mountain. Some years ago, a former professor here at Massey would always begin his presentations with the same whakatauki or proverb, and because I heard it often enough, this message stuck in my mind. The first part translates as, "No horizon is too far for those properly prepared to go the distance." Today, I think those words have extra significance because this graduating cohort might actually be better prepared for success than most and to face future challenges because of the nature of the last few years. And with that final thought, I would also like to acknowledge that we are not the only ones who have walked these trails. For each of us here, there have been people who have guided us, supported us, and been proud of us. It takes families, friends, and communities to get through degrees, and even to get through speeches. Thank you to my village, and all of those here for travelling with us to this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee, for your valedictory address. We'll now continue with the doctoral conferments.
A doctorate, either a PhD or a professional named doctorate, is the highest research degree awarded by the university. The successful completion of a doctorate represents a significant achievement. Through the submission of a sustained piece of research expressed in the production of a written thesis of no more than 100,000 words, or a creative work of equivalent size and scope, or via a series of publications, candidates are expected to make an original contribution to knowledge in a particular field of study. Candidates will typically spend 3 to 4 years of full-time research solving a problem or addressing a set of questions. An international panel of experts then examines the resulting body of work through both written and oral examination. Doctoral research is challenging and represents a huge commitment to advancing research and scholarship. We honour the achievement of our doctoral graduates by inviting them to come onto the stage at the end of the ceremony, thereby formally welcoming them into the academic and scholarly community and acknowledging their entitlement to be called Doctor. Acting Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Doctor of Clinical Psychology the graduands I'm about to name. Joanne Christina Chapman, Doctoral Scholar. Ms. Chapman developed a new test for use in awake brain surgery that helps surgeons distinguish healthy tissue from tumours. The new test was an improvement on the existing test in consistency and fairness to patients from diverse backgrounds. Accurate testing improves the safety of brain tumour surgery and outcomes for patient. Acting Chancellor, Dr. Chapman. Michaela Sarah Holman. The factors influencing a person's decision to take their own life are numerous and often complex. Ms. Holman used temporal network analysis to explore how risk factors for suicide changed over short periods of time and how they affected one another. Her research highlighted the importance of frequent assessment of suicidal ideation and its risk factors, particularly hopelessness. Acting Chancellor, Dr. Holman. Acting Chancellor, I have the honour to present for graduation in the degree of Doctor of Philosophy the graduands I'm about to name. Amelia Grace Bird Barker, Doctoral Scholar. Ms. Barker's research focused on how 3 female peasant visionaries gained authority during the Great Western Schism in medieval France. Her research explored how these women utilised their experiences to influence secular and religious politics at a time when women were expected to be silent. Ms. Barker also translated a medieval Latin manuscript for the first time into modern English. Acting Chancellor, Dr. Barker. Deirdre Ann MacDonald, Doctoral Scholar. Ms. MacDonald's thesis tells a story about the Mycoplasma bovis eradication program. Her research found that farming in Aotearoa, New Zealand is based on a model where cows have to move from farm to be profitable, but that biosecurity practices run counter to those biological mobilities, making biosecurity and farming fundamentally incompatible. Acting Chancellor, Dr. MacDonald. Lan Fong Thi Nyan. Ms. Nyan's research examined donor partnerships engaging micro and small enterprises to economically empower ethnic minority women in Vietnam. It uncovered insights into these businesses' roles, strengths, limitations, and challenges in promoting inclusiveness and women's empowerment. The research proposed a new theoretical framework and a practical approach for donor business partnerships aimed at women's empowerment. Acting Chancellor, Dr. Nyan. Tamsin Rosina T. Riaki. Ms. T. Riaki investigated how gamification can be tailored to the needs of tāne ākonga Māori, Māori boys, in a manner that caters to their cultural and learning needs. This is the first study in the world to cater gamification in education to the needs of Indigenous students and prove to significantly enhance the motivation and the engagement of all ākonga. Acting Chancellor, Dr. T. Riaki. Thank you, Acting Chancellor. Would all graduates please stand? He horere nui te whakatau atu I a koutou he raukura te kuninga ki pūri hurua. It is my great honour to welcome you as alumni of Massey University. The award of a university degree carries many privileges, but like all privileges, it also carries responsibilities. I charge you, as graduates of Massey University, to use what you have learnt for your own betterment and for the benefit of the community. I charge you to use your skills and the knowledge you have acquired with rigour and integrity, and to commit yourselves to a program of lifelong learning and discovery. I charge you to remember the lessons that Massey University has taught you about the worth of others, particularly those who have not had the opportunities that you have had. I charge you to set goals and to continue the hard work that has brought you so far. And in all that you do, I charge you to be deserving of the good name of Massey University. Everyone, please join me in a worthy round of applause. Congratulations.
At the conclusion of this ceremony, guests are requested to remain in their seats until the processions have assembled on Broadway Avenue. Please then join our celebratory procession to the square for refreshments, where we hope you'll mix and mingle with your graduates, staff, friends and family, who've all been here to celebrate your success. I declare this congregation to be adjourned. Please join with us in singing the national anthem, God Defend New Zealand, the words of which are behind me. Everyone else, please stand.